Father Joe's Villages is finding new ways to tell the stories of homelessness on our streets. Their Neighbors Helping Neighbors podcast launches today. Joining us now to talk more about it is the president and the CEO of Father Joe's Villages, Deacon Jim Vargas, and podcast host Maggie Durocher. Great to see you two. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Logan. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, Deacon Jim, let me start with you. How did you decide to participate in a podcast? Why did you think it was so important to tell some stories of the homeless?
Well, we definitely need to be telling stories about the homeless in the sense of solutions, right? I mean, there's a lot of frustration out there in the public eye, and understandably so. I mean, the situation seems to be getting worse. I mean, you've heard some statistics, Logan, like for every 7 people are placed into housing, 10 are becoming homeless, right? So people feel frustrated. In the midst of it all, I think they also need to recognize that there's a lot that's happening, that a lot of solutions that are proving to be successful. And so that's the story that we're telling. We're telling the story about these solutions, what the state of homelessness is, what the solutions are, and we have subject matter experts joining us at each of the podcasts in order to deliver that message, and Maggie does a great job as the host.
Well, let's hear it, Maggie. Tell us a little bit about some of the stories that you're learning about and why you're so passionate about this issue.
Well, for me, it's really about the mission. Here at Father Joe's, our mission is to end homelessness and prevent homelessness one life at a time. And that's why I do it every day. And not only that, but humanizing the face of homelessness. Homelessness is often talked about in numbers. And so I really want to grow compassion and put a face to this issue. We have so many great episodes planned for you all. Our first one was with Tamara Kohler. We talked about the state of homelessness. We've talked about meeting basic needs. That's shelters, food, housing, showers, mail. We're going to talk about our health center, street outreach, harm reduction. You'll have to stay tuned and find out.
Sure. Are there some success stories, Deacon Jim, maybe you can share with us, or Maggie? Maybe somebody who kind of got off the street with your help and are now living a fruitful life?
Absolutely. I mean, I shared one in today's podcast. In fact, that Eric is his name. He's a veteran, great guy, and he had been married for a good number of years after having served our country valiantly and protecting our freedoms. And his wife passed away after many years, and it really impacted him and severely, and so put him into a fit of depression. He wound up going onto the streets, actually, and as a result, was stricken with not only mental health challenges, but other challenges as well. Well, he found his way to us, and thank God he did, because the behavioral health clinicians within our health center were able to help him and back to being self-sufficient in a sense. And the work that we've done with him in our employment center and situating him in now a place of his own has made all the difference. And that's just one of so many stories.
Yeah, Maggie, you're nodding your head. Have you learned some issues that you think maybe cause most people to become homeless? You hear about mental issues. Maybe somebody's down on their luck. They've been going through some difficult times in their life. Maybe there's alcoholism. What are you seeing? Is there kind of a common theme that maybe puts somebody in homeless? Maybe through no fault of their own?
Sure. And, the reasons for falling into homelessness are as varied as the solutions. And so that's why we have a vast array of programs, not only in our organization, but within the community. And that's what we want to highlight. We want to continue this collaboration, talk about the successes, talk about the successes and the struggles, and come together as a community to really take this issue.
Yeah. And Logan, as you've heard me say before, that the number one reason people are falling into homelessness here in San Diego is an economic one. I mean, that is the case. It's very expensive to live here. We know the average rent is about $2,700 a month, and the rental vacancy is about 3.5%. So no sooner does an apartment come on the market, it gets scooped up, and not by our population because it's out of their reach, right? So that's the number one reason. And then that leads to a whole host of other issues. You mentioned mental health challenges, substance use disorder if you've been on the streets for a long period of time. So these are the types of challenges that people face, and this is we work with these challenges. We work with them in order to be able to lift them up out of their situation so that they can go forward and be self-sufficient.
Yeah. And in a wraparound way, the issues exacerbate each other. And so having these comprehensive services are really important.
Sure. Right. Well, thanks for the yeah. Where can people listen to the podcast?
You can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and I believe we'll also be on YouTube. So we're launching tonight at 5 o'clock.
The first episode will be the state of homelessness. We just taped today the second episode, which will be released in a couple of weeks, and that's just meeting the basic needs. And then from there, we have other exciting episodes as well. So I hope people do tune in.
And it's neighbors helping neighbors. That's what they search for.
Yes, that's what you'll search for.
Exactly.
Okay. Great to see you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Logan.
Thanks for all the
Good
help
to be with you.
that you give so many folks out there on the street. I know they appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. God bless you.